Hello, everyone. This is Roberto Amadeo Martocci, founder and director of the Ministry of the Diamond Light. I wish to welcome you to season one of the PEPTALKZ Personal Empowerment Podcast, where we bring you a variety of unique and forward-thinking perspectives based on the extensive knowledge, wisdom, and insight of masters and experts that have decades of experience and who are deeply devoted to their spiritual and mystical practices. And these practices bring out hidden truths and that have practical applications for our lives. So the goal is to share these experiences and proven tools to guide us towards our self-empowerment, our self-healing, and to help us awaken more fully to our limitless potential. And in that vein, I bring to you a very special guest, Lorena Espiga, who is a dear friend of
Hello.
mine. Yes, you're a dear friend of mine and a woman of many talents, even though you won't admit it, and who always follows her inner guidance um, for your own personal growth. And you're committed to be a guide and a healer and a mentor for other people. And I really love that about you. Besides being a beautiful spirit, it's like your devotion to what you do and your continual um, like you're always moving, you're always learning, expanding, trying to expand yourself. And that's something that I highly, am inspired by. So um, Lorena is also an expert Akashic Records advisor. Is how I title you. Who helps her clients by tuning into her guide and tuning into their guides to shepherd them towards aligning to their intended soul path and ultimately toward self-empowerment and self-fulfillment. There's a theme here. I
Yeah.
want people. I want to empower people. I trained with you and learning Akashic Records and learning the guides, and it was transformational for me. And it's like it's important. Like it's just really important for us to be able to tune into our guidance and then be able to trust and follow that guidance, which is why I'm glad you're here. So some other things you do, some other things Lorena does. She facilitates people's healing process through the use of Bach essences and through other fields of study and techniques that she has training and experience in. And I'm going to ask her to describe her work a little bit more to you as we have this conversation. But before we do that, I just want to let you know that Lorraine and I have opened our Akashic Records. So we're in contact with our guides during this conversation, during this podcast episode, to see what kind of guidance comes through as we have our conversation. And also, I'm hoping we'll get some channeled messages that are meant to help, all of you for the coming year. So, Lorena, welcome.
Yes.
I want to welcome
I'm
you to the podcast.
so
And
happy to be here.
yeah, and just so just so the viewers know, you've been kind of instrumental in helping me set this up. And I kept wanting to launch and launch and stuff, and guidance was like things I was doing in my life, and guidance was just like, oh, I know you're doing this, not yet. And I'm just like, what? Like to the point where like a podcast episode that I recorded got the file is there, but it has nothing in it, and I had watched it,
Oh my God,
so
I forgot
so
about that.
and it was still on my computer. So I'm like, okay, I have to now do this. So following the guidance, it was a little disturbing, but I was just like, okay. And it all worked out because I realize now that I am so much more well prepared for being able to do this. I had to do some things in order to show up better for people. So, what's I gonna say? So,
Yeah, the podcast help was a while ago. Yeah, because I remember we spoke like in between us doing this now and before, and you got back into it. But obviously, I always trust, talk about inner guidance. We have to trust sometimes the timing. It's just to me, it probably wasn't the right time to launch it then. I feel like you're more prepared now. You're in the you're like on the right path now.
I had to take care of things, you know. I tend to move quickly
Yeah.
and I get a lot of guidance. So it's just like, okay, come on, let me know. Like, and I'm going and I'm going and I'm going. But then I made this humongous what is it? Transformation in my life. And, you know, I got divorced. I moved clear across country. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm setting up my healing studio. I'm doing all of these things. I'm setting up the business for seeing clients and online too. And it's just like I had to deal with some things. Like I didn't realize that I needed more time.
Yeah.
I knew
Yes.
what I had to do, and I was doing it, trying to get it done, and I needed more time. So I think those experiences that happened, like my car got flooded in a flood, and I lost my car for 2 months. I was like, it was like every day
Wow.
I was dealing with that, and it turned out for the best. You know, I insurance paid for the car, the new car. I even got like a huge money back from it, just so that I could, you know, do a down payment, and I pay less per month.
The universe protecting you, right?
I
You
know.
just never know in the moment. That's why it's always good to like not jump to conclusions like, oh my God, and already think negative. Like I know that's easy for our mind, our ego to do that, but after years of work, now I get into like, well, maybe this is protecting me from something. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe it's redirecting me. Maybe it's helping me see the bigger picture in some way. And that literally has been 2023 for me.
Yeah.
Like everything that's happened has helped me realize that I had to go even deeper with listening to myself and what I needed and how I needed to do things, right? And it's not perfect, but I'm on a better path now. But it has been interesting to see how that's been a lot of people's stories this year, where it was a lot of chaos,
Yes.
literally like uprooting, uplifting. A lot of people moved, a lot of people had to change big parts of their or big areas of their life, shed a lot. And this is why we were earlier speaking off the recording that 2024 to me is going to be a really beautiful year for a lot of us that have been through a lot in 2023. It's not that we're not going to have the lessons because the lessons are there. Our soul needs those lessons, but it's more we're going to live it differently, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, speaking for myself, it's like I was always capable, but I feel more capable of what's going on and more trusting.
Yes.
No, I trust guidance and I trust this, but it was like a deep, there was still something there where sometimes I'd be like, am I really, am I going to be good at doing this? Like, I know I am, but like, but it's like the little, I don't doubt myself on a level, but there was something, some programming in there that would always like, I'd get flashes of, you know, you know, what are you doing?
Like, who do you think you
Do
are?
you want to do this? Do you really want to, you know, do this?
I
And then
think
of
it's good that
course,
you didn't give up though, right? Because I think that's a lot of people's story. And that's been my story. That was my story for years where I just give up. And like, for example, a good example is my YouTube. Like I haven't done a video in probably over a year, but I know it's there and I know I have to pick it up at some point. But I'm not gonna like be hard on myself, right? It's like there's probably something I need to learn to be able to share on there to bring more value to people. And right now, and like I said, 2023 for a lot of people was really hard. So
and slow
not that I
pace.
couldn't, yeah, slow and it felt like you were like treading through mud.
Yeah. And I'm like
Like,
I'm a manifester. Like the second I have a direction, I know the direction. It's
yeah,
like boom, and it was like this molasses.
molasses, yeah.
It was like molasses, and I'm like, why is this going so slow? And then there was the financial thing. It was just like I really need to make this work.
Wait, so what, just because I know astrologically 2023 was hard for a lot of sun signs, well, sun and I guess ascendants,
I'm
it
a water
depends.
sign, but I have
What's your ascendant?
Scorpio.
Like me. It was a crazy year for us.
Yeah.
Crazy. We have a lot of similarities in certain things like moving and relationships. Yep.
But
Like,
I have to say, during all of it, which you said, you know, you didn't give up. What really kept me going was I would the whole car thing, the whole financial thing, the whole like, you know, I won't get into all the things. There was a lot of them. It was like I knew it was going to be fine. I said I knew it was this is happening for a really good reason. And it could sound corny or like whatever, but really it was for my best interest, all of it.
yep. That's the exact mindset and energy I brought to anything difficult that came. There were a few moments that were like lows, and I was like, why is this all happening? But then that's something you practice and you learn with time, right? In your healing journey of like bringing it back to what is it trying to teach me? Not trying to get into the victim role, right? It's this is all happening for a reason. It's a reflection of something internal to me, something that I obviously need to live to expand or grow or to do something differently. But if we get stuck in that victim role, we're toast, right?
Well, then
How are we going to learn?
we freeze ourselves.
We freeze ourselves, yeah.
We freeze ourselves, and we don't want to freeze ourselves when we're actually having a challenge because then how do you figure out what's going on to get yourself to a
And you
better
can't
place?
listen to yourself when you're in that victim role. Well, you can, but it's just a lot harder, right?
Well, I think the filter becomes a little bit more. It's almost like in some way you're being unsupportive to yourself. I don't know why those words came because I just never really say things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I had to be my biggest advocate
Yeah.
and encourager, self encourager. I'm just like, no, Roberto. It's like this. You're fine. It's fine. And then I would feel it, and I'd be like, okay, it will be fine. But
You're
it's hard.
trusting.
It's hard to
It's hard.
get
Yeah.
there for you know for everyone, I guess, when you're going through something. But I do see all the challenges as like this is how I looked at it. What is there's an opportunity here. What is this opportunity? Okay, do I want to go through this? Hell no. Do I need to go through this? Sorry to say, yes. You guys are like, yeah, you do. You're not ready. You have to fix this one. You transformed everything else in your life, and you really have to do this one thing. And it was, you know, getting out of an illusion. Like it was like, it's like a illusion or a, not that it was a fantasy, but like a fantasy of how um, of where everything was going to go. Like I got ahead of myself
Right. Okay.
because I can really envision like future possible futures for me and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think I was getting a little bit ahead of myself and things were happening. It's like, no, you need more time. You need more time. And I think that 2023 for a lot of people was, you know, you need to rethink everything because something big changes, big revelations and things are going to happen in 2024. This is what I'm getting.
Yep.
And and you really need to revamp everything. So I feel like, you know, all of these um, the more numerous challenges and, you know, being have to trudge through the mud, like you said, going through them slowly, it's actually preparing people.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I felt that.
Like 2024 for me is like we were saying before outside of the recording, it's like a make or break kind of year. Like you got to step up now,
Yep.
like really step up with your inner work, finding your guidance, um, and that guidance is going to lead you to say goodbye to some things that you might be, you know, have comfort or used to, or just, you know, you don't, you know, you need to, but you're like, I'll do it later, and you really got to. I think people need 2024. People need to be devoted to themselves
Amen.
and their mission and their happiness. Um, yeah, there's no more fooling around.
Yeah. Like,
I say that to myself too.
yeah. Yeah, with all the love in the world, right? It's how do I get in there, start doing the work for myself, but also for others. Because I did a whole episode on my podcast about, I think it was on, yeah, it was on, I get confused with the community and the membership that we have in the podcast.
You said
But
it
I'm pretty sure
somewhere. Like I
I
said,
said it
she's a
somewhere.
woman of many talents, and she does a lot.
Like we, as healers, we need to heal. It's really, really important because otherwise we're going to start projecting our insecurities, our issues, our wounding onto other people, and that will never help somebody heal.
Yeah, and we have to be physically, like, for people that are listening as well, that are that work with spirit, work with guides, or they're healers, or they basically work with clients, and they're in a service kind of.
You could be a therapist even, right? You even
Yeah,
have to work in the
therapist.
spiritual realm.
I do massage therapy as well, and it's like, when was the last time I got a massage or allowed myself to? So the the thing that just like popped up that I want to say was what you were saying about healing. We have to help heal ourselves as well, or receive healing. Is I knew, like, some, like, my neck. I wasn't in pain or anything like that. I was like, something's off. Something's off with my neck or something. I think I need to just go to a chiropractor. So it wasn't like I was going because I had some big issue. I was just noticing that something wasn't right. So I go to the chiropractor, and they do the adjustment, and they did this shockwave kind of. It's like a biohacking tool for healing in that area. And I felt fine afterwards. And then the next day, I woke up with total, like, frozen neck, shoulder. Like, it was almost like I had my brachial plexus. I had a pinched nerve, and I
Oh,
couldn't for like 2 days. I couldn't do anything. I was doing stuff, but I couldn't, only sit up for about 30 minutes at a time, and I'd have to, like, lay down and maybe stretch. And instead of being like, oh my God, this is horrible, the first thing I said, which is also guidance, um, was, you're healing. That's what
hmm.
I heard. I was like, yeah, you're suffering, but you're healing. This is a healing crisis.
I like that. Healing crisis.
Yeah. And then I laid under some infrared light and was doing little things, and not that much. I was resting, and
Was that on your left or right side?
it's my right side.
Hmm.
And it was like the third day I woke up totally fine. And I'm like, okay, I needed that.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, that's something because I'm in the process of finishing my studies with family constellations. It's been like almost 2 years. And one thing I really understand at a deeper level now is that any physical symptom in our bodies is saying something. There's something there. It could be something that we've physically manifested for a reason of something. There's and no, numerous things. It could be so many things, right? But sometimes it's ancestral. It's something we're holding on to for somebody else, or our body's showing something that's been repressed for years and years and years. We don't know, right? We'd have to like look into it, but I kind of look at symptoms now in a very different light, and it's symptom of something, right? So
Yeah, that's what I call it, like,
energetically,
psycho emotional or psychosomatic illness, because
yeah,
it's not in the way that it's been used in the past, where it's just like, oh, that that one's crazy. She just thinks she's ill, so she's ill. Well, that actually happens,
yeah, it
and I
does.
think it happens more like, like, now
I
more than
think
ever.
even like it's interesting with like when there's a history of mental illness in a family. Yes, there's like the medical, Western medical side that's like, well, it's genetic, it runs in the family. Yeah, but what's the energy around it?
Yeah.
Why is it actually happening? It's telling you something, right? Um, for me, I always say my story, right? Where I went to do a family constellation. I got family constellation from somebody else. This was years, years ago, where I had like really bad hip, it was on my right side, hip pain for almost 2 years. I got MRIs, I went to physio. It wouldn't go away. It's like, let me go constellate this, see what's up. Because I have no explanations in the medical sense. Then this has to be something my body's holding on to. I'm very like, my body will show symptoms when I'm emotionally not dealing with something or something's like trapped in my body. And it ended up being that I was holding on to a lot of my mom's pain with the passing of her brother, so my uncle, that literally the day after the constellation, the pain was gone, just gone. It disappeared from my body.
That was
I
happening.
obviously, I
Yeah.
was like, I let it out. I connected with that pain and healed that and I wasn't holding, I didn't need to hold on to it anymore. It was something that I felt unconsciously, right? It wasn't something I was thinking. I had no clue it was
And you
even
were
that,
holding it
right?
for her.
Yeah, because I'd seen my mom go through the worst episode of like depression. I'd never seen her like that in my life. I was probably like, I don't know, maybe 10, 9, I don't, maybe 11, 12, I don't even remember. But she wouldn't eat. She was locking her, she was crying. Like I'd never seen my mom in that state. So it's weird and unconscious. I was like, I'll probably die like my uncle. That's what I thought in my head. It was like a story, right? I don't know. It's these weird things that we don't realize could be going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
That all of a sudden our body speaks to us constantly, right?
Well, there it is. It was a challenge. There was an opportunity there, and it was something subconscious in there that was affecting you. And it's a little complex because it was like you were doing that for your mother, but at the same time, just realize you were able to do that, and that's why
Mm.
even subconsciously you allowed that to happen.
That's how much that's what
But
I'm
then you
studying and understanding. Like we love our family so much that we unconsciously take on their pain.
yeah.
It's insane.
Even if we don't love them, people love their families.
Even if you don't, like you're saying, even if you have a problem or there's conflict, you still will hold on to the pain
Yeah, it's like their
unconsciously.
karma. Their karma goes to to you. Like I had to clear my father's karma. It
Hmm.
wasn't mine,
Correct.
and I was just like, okay, well, I can do that. I wasn't thinking I was clearing my dad's karma at the time, but I was. I looking back, I was just like, yeah, because I was repeating the same pattern in my relationships that he had, and he was still in
But
it.
why is that, right? It's because I love you so much, especially when you have to think about when we're born, right? When we're born, what do we need? We need to feel we can't be excluded. If we're excluded, we won't survive. We need to be held, we need to be fed. Our survival depends on that.
Yeah,
So then we unconsciously repeat this. I can't be excluded, even though there might be issues, there might be conflict, it doesn't matter. But then we unconsciously repeat that because if you unconsciously repeat it, it's like somehow you're supporting them, but at the same time, it's like they'll love me.
yeah. I was always empathic.
Yeah.
So it's like I knew, like even when I didn't even know who guides and things and stuff were, it's like I knew why my dad was doing what he was doing. And I felt compassion for him. And it was like I felt sad for him. I didn't think it was my responsibility, but that like you were talking about ancestral stuff. It's like that what he wasn't able to meet the challenge in his life got transferred to me even though I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah.
Somehow it was something that I guess maybe I came into this was part of the plan, my plan, because I could do that for my family and my ancestral line so that my children don't have to do that
Yeah.
in theirs.
Yeah, because it will continue. It could generations. Generations. It could skip generations. You just don't know.
So the family ancestral work that you're doing, because I don't know, like,
The family constellations, yeah.
sorry, family constellation. See, I don't even know. Um, like for people that maybe don't know what it is or they've heard of it, but they don't, like, how do you release these things that are ancestral? Just tell me, like, what is it?
Yeah.
What is
First of all, family constellations is like it's a kind of therapy. It's a method. It's a tool that one can use. You can go into it to heal so many different things, right? From limiting beliefs to physical symptoms in your body, illness, relationships. I mean, it's all about healing through the family system because everything originates with the family, right? Be it your immediate family, it could be ancestral things, right? So the way that's done, it could be one-on-one. When I say one-on-one, it could be on Zoom like this, right? Or it could be in groups. I've done both personally, and they're both amazing, and they both have their benefits, and there's space and room for each of those. But the idea is that there's specific systemic laws within the family system that we need to kind of achieve. Usually, if there's an issue, be it in your body or emotional or anything, or that you feel stuck in life. Like if you're stuck, it's because you're not walking your path. There's something holding you back from that. So we look at the family system, making sure that you're occupying the role that you need to be occupying, that the hierarchy is in the order it needs to be, that there's a flowing of giving and taking. There's quite a few different things we can look at there, but that's healed through observing. You're able to see physically outside of you the imprint of what you're feeling inside of yourself. Sometimes you don't even realize it because everything starts taking shape and form. We can see it, and then we can move it through healing phrases and just energetic kind of connecting to things, right? So the idea is that you have to later integrate all that, right? Sometimes for me, in my case with my hip pain, it was instant. I guess I was ready to see that, and it was something that was very obvious, and I don't know, but for some people, it could take weeks, months, years. It could be a process that you go through several sessions with a therapist. But the idea is it helps move things. I've used it for grief. I couldn't process grief because I had been in a moment where a friend of mine had died, and I couldn't release it. It was like trapped in my body. I had a year and a half where I had hives and allergies in my body. They would not go if I would take medication. Nothing would. I had allergies to nothing, yet my body was showing me something's trapped. It's emotional. So I ended up doing a family constellation, and a couple months later, it just disappeared. It didn't come back. But you can release. And like even today, there's something that's come up in my life that I never really expected. It's very interesting, I would say, because I never expected to see this where in my family, I felt like something was missing. I couldn't say it in those words, but I felt it. And through something, because my sister lives here where I live, and she made a comment, and it kind of stuck in my head. It resonated, and I sat with it for a couple of days. And then I had class one day, and they bring up this concept of like a lost twin, right? And I cried for almost an hour and a half. I did a whole episode on the podcast about this, like my part one. I'll be doing a part two soon, of my process with it because it's been insane. Like things that pop up, you're just like, what?
I know. I will get to that. But by the way, what Lorena is referring to, her and her sister Lucia, they have a podcast called the Soul Tribe Podcast. And if you, like, you have to listen to that. I mean, they have a lot of episodes. Even if like start from the beginning. I
Oh
mean,
my God. It's been like 5 years.
I know a lot
Can't
of
believe it.
information there. So
Yeah.
that's what she's referring to.
Yeah. It's a beautiful healing. It's helped me personally, and I kept feeling because I do obviously Akashic Record readings. I kept feeling like I was moving tons of energy, helping people, but I was like, I need something else to like physically move people and help empower them and help release things that I can do to some extent or level through a reading, through an Akashic Record reading, but I kept feeling like I needed a tool, something to add into that to be able to work through it. So I'm not quite sure how that will manifest because I'll be starting that in 2024, to offer this service of family constellations. But like I always and how I teach it, you got to do it your own way, right? Respecting the tool, making sure you have the best intention, but making sure you can make it your own, right?
Yeah, well, which is why you're taking a moment to do that. Like I
Yeah.
was saying, what I respect about you is that you're taking things and you're like working with them and making sure that you know that this is the way you're supposed to do something, and you have other things that you do, and integrating that is just going to make it a unique experience because I've experienced your Akashic Records readings as well
Yeah.
personally, and that is like a really big tool. you know, putting that together with something else that's really profound, you felt that. Like you were like, I hate to say it's like something was missing, but you use those words, and I'm being guided to say like use those words. When you were talking about in your family, it's like something was missing. It's like something was missing. There was a missing ingredient that would make what you do even more flavorful. If we're talking about cooking,
Yeah, yeah.
would be it would have a greater impact, that you want to have, that your soul knows that you want to have. And I just wanted to say to people, like, because you feel something is missing, it's that's not a bad thing. That's
Yeah.
that's like a that's like, oh, so now what's missing here? Like when I was a professional dancer, I went very, very far, and I worked with, you know, I had a really good career. Something was missing. And instead of just sitting there going, oh, what am I going to do? I was just like, what is that? What is that then? And then I realized it was music, and I went more into music, and then I went into, then I was like, okay, I did that, and something's missing. There's more. There's always more.
There's always more. And
So
we never just stay stagnant. Our soul doesn't necessarily want that.
that's when we get sick, I believe, is when we resist change so much that our bodies like start screaming at you. You have to be aligned. You have to find your way. It could take a while. That's fine. As long as
Took
you're.
me forever to find this path.
It took me.
Like years of just being so much in my head about it until I could really go on this journey of healing myself. Like really, like up to that point, in my life I thought I was, but I wasn't really. I was like, wow, I've hit rock bottom. Like I really do not love myself how I want to love myself. Like it was such a foreign concept to me. I couldn't understand how people love themselves. I still feel like I'm on that journey, obviously. I don't think you just learn that in a day or a couple years. I think it's a process to practice. But even I sometimes like pay attention to my inner talk. I'm like, wow, like the old Lorena did not have that inner, that very kind, empathetic, compassionate inner dialogue. She was so hard on herself. So everything is a mistake. And today it's more like, well, I'm just going to keep upgrading and becoming a better version of myself, not only for myself, but for others, for the collective, for you just never know the impact you can have on somebody, right? Like you just don't know.
I was going to ask you a question, and it's popping in again. It's just like, and I think this is really, for the audience as well, to like say to yourself, because it has to do with what you just said. It's like, who is Lorena Espiga? And then the next part of that is who I know myself to be. Like, I mean, who are you, your soul, like what you really know? And then is that is that what you're presenting in the world? So it's like, does who I am, and who I, even if you say who I want to be, what do I want? What's going to bring me the most joy and happiness? If there were no limits, and you're saying, anything is on the table. Yeah, I this is what I want, and this is who I really am. And then compare it to that other voice that has created this character that may be aligned with, or maybe not aligned with. And I think that's how you know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think everybody should ask themselves. And you might not have the answer right away, right? You might be figuring that out. I think I used to look at like getting older as like, oh, I still struggle with the concept of getting older, but it's like it's allowed me to work on myself. I mean, it's a privilege to be here today at the age that I am because not a lot of people can get here, right? Like some people don't
especially
live.
me. I'm older.
Are you? I thought we were like the same age.
No,
Yeah, you're older. That's right, but you don't look your age. That's right. Okay, I remember
I
now.
think
It's just this idea of looking at every day as like a gift. And I really focus on that as much as I can. It's hard, but also it's like, what am I going to do with my energy? Like, how do I choose to use my energy? I'm not going to say it's perfect for me. I'll be honest. This year has been challenging, but it's also like the end of the year always finds like a really good time to like sit with yourself and reflect, not on what you would change, but on what you know you've learned or what you need to continue to learn. Nothing's right or wrong. That's why I love the records, right? Because it's not yes or no or right or wrong. It's more like let's look at it from all the perspectives and understand what you need to understand so you can choose. But for me, I honestly can say I don't feel off my path. I just sometimes wish I had, and I know this is very internal, it's probably a belief system, but it's more like I wish I could retain more information so that I could pass it on and like work with it. You know what I mean? Like learn things quicker. That's probably, maybe I'm like impatient, I don't know. But I feel like there's always more alignment because I feel like I keep feeling this calling of working more with people in groups, and I think it's so important to be like accessible. Does that make sense? Like that people can, right? Like it be it because you have a YouTube video or you have a podcast, like get people can learn and can grow and can like heal themselves, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm doing this online now
Yeah.
because I want I don't want to just keep this all to myself. I've worked many years in inner work and following guidance and learning about myself. Really, it's more like remembering who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Remembering who you are. So that's what I meant by who you are, your soul knows. And then this is what I'm doing. I'll call it, say it differently. This is what I'm doing right now, is on the other hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do I do with this me in this present moment to lead myself to discovering and remembering who you really are and to actually go and get there. And I think that's life's journey.
That
And
is like, yeah.
and challenges unfortunately help us get there.
But also the time,
Fortunately,
right?
it doesn't feel right.
We're talking about time earlier. We're talking about old versions of ourselves. And I always remind myself, actually, that version of us already exists. It's there. We just have to align with it, right? So I've talked also about this like with people where it's like envision, connect, feel that version of you and take steps each day to get there. Is it that you need to do inner healing? Is it that you need to make a decision? It could be a slow process, but that version of you already exists out there. It's there. Time doesn't exist. I mean, in the 3D sense, we see time very linearly, right? But it's not really like that in the spiritual sense. We can go like this in the spiritual sense and we can get something.
Yeah.
It's us, our human brain, and all this up here beliefs and all these things that hold us back from getting there. Be it because you want to manifest something physically or because you want to connect to something deeper so you can help people, for example, right?
Yeah. And like, belief that you said the word, it's so
Yeah.
important. Like I experienced something that it just came through where I think it was like I studied and trained for like 20 years in Gestalt. It's not full Gestalt, but it's like
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Gestalt, like, counseling.
That's amazing.
20 years with they're more expanded version of it. So it's not
Hmm.
just Gestalt. It's that was a little aspect of it. Um, oh, and I just remembered. I like teach. I teach that
Yeah.
communication skill and that inner work kind of thing. But anyway, so we were doing. It was like they didn't call it inner child work, but what we were doing was getting an intuition and seeing either the other person in the group or yourself as a child.
Mm.
Let's say we did it for the other person. So I see you. I see a boy sitting in this living room by himself. There's people around him, but nobody's connecting with him. And then the person, I said, "That's the image that I'm getting. Does that resonate with you?" Yes, yes, I remember that. And then that brings a thing up. So you're doing this inner child kind of healing, and we were talking about time, the inner, like, when you are able to access that memory, you're calling it a memory because it's the past, but it's in you.
It's a part of you.
It's a part of you that's still there that you carry through to the present. So you're going back as your future self with more knowledge, more experience, more healing, more, all of those things. And you're going back and you're giving that child what it needs in that moment. And then at the same time, you're receiving that. So like what I experienced was someone had done that with me, and we contacted that, my 8-year-old self. And when I and then in the present, like that, the change that happened there to that 8-year-old that still exists actually moved through, like I felt it. It's almost like a soul retrieval. Like I
You feel it, yeah.
felt that love and energy, and it changed me. So, so who's to say like you can't access your future self and learn from that
I
person?
mean, yeah,
They
that's
want to,
beautiful.
my future self will want to be, the future self can give you what your present self, because it's past to that future. Oh my God, am I confusing it? Play this back a few times.
Maybe you'll understand it.
I really love just saying, time does not exist because I have to explain
Time
it.
does not exist. No, it's true.
But yeah, everything's happening all at the same time, and being able to open up, um, your passageway. These are just words I'm hearing. This passageway to the other times in your timeline
Hmm.
is a really amazing tool for healing and knowing where you want. Like what I envision, and I'm not like I am purposely trying to envision what my future is. I see it.
Mm.
I see it. I feel it. I know it's happened. I know it's happening. Now what I have to do is allow it to do the things. And
And to listen to yourself so you can take the steps and make the decisions to get there.
yeah, that's what's coaching. I mean, like a spiritual coaching. It's like,
Yeah.
level 2, like power up. You're like, if you can access those things, you can, like, on an energetic level, your future self can coach you. You can coach you, you
Yeah,
know.
but I love something you said there. When we heal, like be it through a session with you or with me or with anybody, when you heal, you're healing in the present, past, and the future. You're healing the entire timeline. So I think people need to understand that. I'm understanding that at a deeper level today. Um, and that's why it's important to do it in the present, but for the entire, all the versions of us, all our parts, right? And the inner child work is really interesting. I focus a lot on that. And I don't think it's overrated or underrated. I think just some people don't realize that it even exists, that you can connect your inner child, that you can do that work. You can do that through a family constellation session too, where you bring the inner child energy in, you bring the future in too, where it's how am I connecting to the future? Am I disconnected from it? Do I not see it? Do I not want to look at it? Is it something that doesn't excite me or makes me really scared? You're connecting to everything. It's all in your body, right? So I mean, there's even exercises you can do at home, right? Where you can put like your inner child in front of you. You can grab a pillow and say, "This is my inner child. Connect to the field." And what comes up for you when you look at it?
Well, that's like it's the Gestalt therapy. It's like they were a little harsh with it, like back in the.
There's a lot of like because Bert Hellinger that created family constellations, he was a psychotherapist, so he brought in a lot of knowledge from different areas. He studied a lot. And we go into Gestalt a little bit in family constellations, right?
Yeah, what you said was like, the pillow and it's in front of you. It's like you can imagine yourself in a chair across from you. Now talk to yourself.
The wait,
What do you
we
want
did
this
we
child
did
to
this
know?
exercise. It's the empty chair exercise or something like that.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's a really good exercise.
Or yes, or if I would, okay, this stuff is coming up. What do you want to say to your father that you didn't get to say? I'm your father right now. Tell me.
Talk to me.
So these things, you know, are rooted in really good a good therapeutic place. It's just how it's done is really important. So
Yes,
it's
the
an
energy and the
energetic thing.
intention.
It's an energetic thing. So you're energetically, you can do this in a meditation with yourself.
I've done it.
You can, in your mind, whatever where you sound bold, like whatever you do to get yourself into, you're altering your brain state so that you're more open, like your thinking mind relaxes and you're more open. And then anything, like you were saying, any thought you have, anything that you say is an opportunity to will something into existence, and it just happens when it's on a higher vibration, which is why I think we're all like, let's raise our vibration, because as we
Yeah.
get higher and higher, things become quicker and more and easy. It becomes the speed of thought.
I couldn't agree more.
So you can just, that's why these guided journeys, well, I do them a lot. Guided journeys, I think that's one of the reasons why they work, because I do it with sound bowls and do sound baths and groups and individual, and it raises the vibration. It opens all the channels. I do some guided things to help the person move the energy through their channels. And
Yeah.
then we go on a journey, like an energetic meditative journey to whatever the goal is. Like I did one. Let's talk about the Akashic Records because it just came up. It's I told you before.
Yeah, we talked a lot
It's
before
like
the
going to the Hall of Records, your Akashic Hall of Records, and meeting your guide who shepherds you in and shows you your book of life. I call it book of lives, and
Yeah.
I'll get your take on that. and and it's like you get to like see your life plan. You get to talk to the guide if you want and get information. But a component of that, we were talking about past, present, and future, is that I it just came to me like I got the guidance to do this because I even though I trained doing Akashic record reading and I do them and all of that, it's like I I don't know, like different people say different things. They're similar about what it is and what is the Hall of Records and what are the things. But what I was being shown was there's a book and it has your name engraved. It's glowing, right? And it has your present incarnation's name on it, like in this golden light, etched in the cover.
I
And
like
you
that.
recognize that that's your book of life. Then you open the book, and what I did with them, because I saw this, was all of the names of all of your incarnations are inside,
Mm.
and you get to choose to work with your present incarnation or any of the other ones. And it's like, so I feel like in a way, Akashic Records can be like also a way to do past life work.
I agree. Depends on the energy around it and you as a healer, right? Because I think in my case, I'm not that visual like you. You see things. I don't as I do, but not as much, not as vivid as you do. So I see the book now. I get visions. They tell me a lot. They help channel through, like they're part of my channeling now. But for you, maybe it's important that you see those past lives. And each reader is different, right? And I say that to people that study with my sister and I. It's maybe you're here to connect more with past lives. I'm here to connect more with the family and healing and empowering yourself and finding your purpose and mission. That's my work. And I've learned that through my process of helping people. Like I didn't know that was where I was going. And my sister's a lot more out there with her information, more about understanding also past lives. For you, it might be healing through the timelines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah. Like, what have I been talking about? I never realized we were talking about timelines and things, and
Yeah.
or the past and the future. And the interesting thing, and just getting back to like always following your guidance, because I didn't just come to that. I didn't set out to do these meditative sound healing journeys that then led me to be inspired to do. They're all different. One of them about the Akashic Records and meeting your guide. And all I did was an ad came up on my iPhone for a local business that had like a biohacking kind of gym, like a personal training gym, where you wear a bodysuit, an EMS suit that has pads that help contract all of your major muscle groups while you're working out.
Yeah.
So you're getting a more effective workout in less time. So I was unrelated, right? I saw the ad. I was like, it was 6 weeks free trial, and I was like, okay, why not? Let me try this out. And I went, and then I went, and my healing center, like the way he painted the room, the same exact flooring, the same kind of lighting was at this place,
Hmm.
and I felt at home. This I created a place that looked just like this place, and I was
Which
like,
isn't your background, right? This it looks to
well,
be.
that's not it. That's not it. I can turn that off for a second so people can see it. Maybe later.
Very little.
So there's all these buttons here, and I'm in the flow. So I said, okay. I went in, and then the person who happened to be the owner, super nice, and I started doing that, and then he asked me what I did, and he was just like, I want to come to you. So he became a client. And I was doing energy healing work and sound healing with him, and just we had like 3 sessions over like a 9 week period, and he just contacted me one day and said, hey, do you do guided meditation journeys too with the sound bowls? And I said, yeah, I do. He said, I want you to do them here at this gym.
Wow.
And I said, okay, obviously there's something going on here that I would not have pursued, that I just need to check this out. I need to be curious about it. And
You
if,
got that intuitive hit.
yeah. So I went and I started doing these, and I divine guidance, follow your guidance. Which is why I want people to get into their own Akashic records for themselves.
It
So
helps.
yeah, and you can
Get
do that.
listen to yourself.
You have even a training that's online. It's like a
Yeah, it's all online now. We haven't done like
live workshops.
live ones. Yeah, no, not maybe we say maybe every year. But we wanted to make it practical for people. It's like sometimes they couldn't make it because of the date. So yes, it's all online. Level one, which would be where everybody starts, right?
Speaking to
Opening
your
your
own
own
guide.
records. Yeah, it's connecting to your higher self, your soul, your guides, your masters. Um, and that really it personally for me, I can only speak for myself and for clients that have worked with us, because my sister and I teach it together, of course. Um, it has helped me listen to my intuition. So even if I don't have my records open, it's like I can listen more clearly. It was a journey for me though. I always talk about that on my
I
podcast. Like
remember. I remember we talked
it
about
was
this.
hard, but it was because I wasn't trusting myself. And that's many people's cases, right? You have to work on your own limiting beliefs and heal yourself in that process.
But how do you trust yourself? You have to prove to yourself that something that you're doing has an effect that you want. It's a positive effect, I'll call it. And then you can repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. That's why devotional work is so important. Like you can learn something. Oh, I did a 2 week workshop, a weekend workshop. You have to work with it for an extended period of time so that you can get all the nuances and open and start to trust yourself. And as you can work with people, friends, like whatever, practicing, and and then you prove to yourself and you build trust in yourself, the gift that you're using for yourself, that you're developing. So
Practice.
just
You have to do it
yes,
over and over and over and over, right?
diligent practice.
Yeah, consistent.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying
Um,
2014 for everyone. By if I could order you around, or I had a wish for you, everybody, it's like do it.
just do it.
You devote yourself to things. You might just be curious, like I was curious. Now, I am so in to going there and doing this, and the effect that it's having with people and opening up their like I could not have even imagined it.
It's amazing.
And I'm like, so connecting to your guidance is going to give you insight and information that you can see if it feels right for you or not. But but you have to step forward and try. Because I didn't know it was going to be this. This is like something I have now like 8 guided meditation journeys, and I'm going to record them all now. And I'm gonna offer them because I actually worked with people and I wasn't experimenting on people, but I was experimenting with this work with people
Yeah.
and to see what its value was and what it could do, so I can prove to myself this is something that people can benefit from. And it was just any like people I wouldn't even. It's not like they're you know in a mystical practice or doing just people that are just awakening and they're like, I want some self-care and I'm going to go and do these guided journeys because I need some peace. I need some healing. And it's
Yeah.
taken on a life of its own. And I'm so grateful to my guidance and for actually I'm grateful to myself a bit if I really have to
Just you're showing up for it. You have to be
for
grateful for it.
actually showing up because if I didn't and I let like oh my god like I was nervous.
Of
I,
course.
I work with clients, I work with in groups and I do stuff, but this was new to me. Doing those things weren't new to me, but actually doing them with a group of people and having to hold that space, not knowing whether people were going to like it would affect them in some positive way, whatever it was, and it just like people were just like that was life changing, and I'm like
Wow.
I'm glad.
Yeah, exactly. You take the ego out of it.
I
It's
didn't
like,
feel like
okay,
I was doing anything to be life changing for people, but you don't know. You don't know.
well, yes and no, because I'm sure you brought that intention into it with your energy, right? So some people will connect to that.
I always bring like guides in as well. Not
Yeah.
just my personal guide, but I have other guides and that I bring in just and with an intention. It's just when I'm writing, I hate calling them scripts, but when I'm writing the journey that I'm gonna do, it's not I'm channeling it like it's I just ask what is going to be the most effective thing for people this week. What do the people
That's
that are
great.
show up need? And then the idea comes. And then I'm
Yeah.
actually writing it. And as I'm writing it,
You're channeling it.
yeah. And then I look at it after I'm done, and then I'm hearing, okay, you can edit that part. But no, you have to do this. I'm like, what do you mean I have to do that? These people are going to think that this is insane. It was like one of the best journeys. People,
But imagine if you got in your own way, you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have received what you needed to give them.
yeah, which
We have to think outside of ourselves. That's the problem. We get stuck in our head and our own ego and our own, inner dialogue and belief system that we don't realize actually, especially when we're in this space where we're showing up for people. It's like you don't know what that person needs. The same thing when you're channeling someone, you don't know why you're saying what you're saying. That person needed to hear it. I've said the craziest things and I'm like, I don't know why you're saying, or people ask me these questions about the future and I'm like, okay, look, the Akashic records are a little bit iffy about the future, its possibilities, probabilities, although I have predicted things through the records, right? I mean, look at Nostradamus, right? Um, But then they'll message me weeks, months, a year later, like it all happened. And you're like, I don't know why at that moment you were doubting yourself, but this came through. You just needed to trust it and keep going.
Yeah. I've learned, I mean, like for the work that we do, and even mediums, and just like all this kind of work, it's a lot of trust. You have to really, and it's trusting yourself that you're going to trust the guidance that's coming in, wherever it's coming from. If you're channeling
Whatever comes,
spirit,
you
you're
speak
channeling
it.
guide, whatever is channeling, and you'll like, that's the hard part of doing what we do. That's the kind of scary part, because I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. It's like doing improv and not even having a theme, you know? And it just happens. It happens in the moment. And the more you do that, like for me, it's, even though I was just like, what did I get myself into? Roberto, what did you get yourself into?
Yeah, but it is
The
like
next
I
thought
say that
was,
blind
we're
trust.
doing this anyway, so let's see what happens.
Show up for it. Yeah. It is, even when we talk about your own inner guidance, it's a little bit of blind trust, like trusting that feeling in your body or trusting that ping, that intuitive hit, that knowing. It's like, I just know this is what I need to do right now. Do it. Because the moment you put your head and your ego into it, you're going to talk yourself out of it and you're not going to do it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that would be awesome. I really believe that I can really make an impact here with this. And
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, um, how are you gonna do that?
The whole story,
How are
right, in
you
your
gonna do
head.
that? Okay, you feel it, you know it, you believe it, but now you have to actually walk through the steps to get yourself there. And I allowed it to happen. I did. And I'm so glad.
You took the action, right? You messaged or you showed up or you emailed or you called. And then from there, everything that needed to happen happened. And you just, the problem here, it's like that people need to remind themselves that you don't know what that intuitive hit, where that might lead you. It might not be about you maybe teaching there forever. It might be that that person, you might meet somebody there that leads you on a amazing path after that, or this gives you the confidence to do the next thing. You just don't know, right? It's it's amazing.
Yeah. No, it is. It's like when you okay, you talk about limitless possibilities. It's like what allows that to happen? You have to say yes to things that you might not fully comprehend or understand, because you either, it comes to people differently. You had a feeling about it. Oh, this feels right. Oh, I'd love to do that. Oh my God, I don't even know if I can do that. I would love to do that. And you just you have, it's not even being brave. Like, I'm hearing that's not the word. There is a kind of, courage that comes with,
A bit of it, but yeah, I don't think that's the right word either.
it's like you allow what is supposed to happen for you
It's permission.
to happen. You give permission. Christos said the same thing just a few hours ago to me. He was telling, I did a podcast episode with him, and he was saying, for, if I want people to know that they have to give permission. What you give permission to, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing,
A yes or a no, right?
choice.
Allowing something or not allowing something.
You always have a choice. And then the choices that you make are what is going to come to you. So I'm like imploring people,
But also the
please
responsibility we have
make choices. Make those
in that there might be something getting in the way, right? There might be a limiting belief, there might be some wounding, some trauma, some experiences, something, right? That's where it's our responsibility to work through that so
Mhm.
that we can guide ourselves down that path and for that path to be fully open, right? Because then we'll feel restricted. We feel like we can't take the steps. It's like I feel like my life's stuck. I it's not moving.
Yeah.
Well, the permission is also I give myself permission to heal this because I know that that is the path. It just right now it feels a little hard.
Yeah. In 2023, we were talking about how being slow and being like molasses and walking through the mud. Um,
Yeah.
Giving yourself permission, like I was saying, I had to slow down. Giving your, I think that's what 2023. One of the things is like showing people that you have to give yourself permission to move at the pace that's going to get you there and not to rush it.
I like that.
And just really listen, just really listen to whatever it is. You can get like synchronicities. I was feeling stuck. I moved clear across country. I didn't, I mean, I had my online stuff, but I was starting over completely. I shut down my local stuff up north, and I came here, to South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, and I was just like, I really need to work. I just really need to work right now. And I was out. I was driving home. It was in the nighttime, and the intuition was go to the Publix grocery store. Or actually, I was with a friend that asked me, "Oh, can we go? Can we go to this?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, why not? Sure. I don't care. I'll turn back around. We'll go there." So we did. I run into my um, ex-boyfriend that I was with for about 6 years, about 30 years ago. Don't do the math. You're gonna, I know you're gonna, because I told you not to. Um, and it was, I hadn't seen him in 15 years. I didn't even know he lived here.
Wow.
And we bumped into each other and we looked at each other and we couldn't even believe it. It's a crazy thing. And he was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I moved here." He goes, "Well, what are you doing for work and stuff like that?" I said, "Well, I'm looking." And I'm a licensed massage therapist still. I do energy healing work. I do sound healing, all this stuff. He goes, "Guess what? This big spa that I work for, Medi Spa. So they do hair, makeup, nails, like injectable. They do like everything. They just let go of their male massage therapist and they're looking for someone."
Wow.
And I was like, thank God, thank God. Even the smallest thing. That's why I'm saying this, because sure, it's out of the way. Let's go to the store. And look what happened. I'm still working there.
But also that you said something.
Yes. Yes. It was like, and when I was saying it, I didn't know that was going to happen, but it was like I was asking in some way for that, because before I realized, before that, I was just like, I really need to do something. I'm ready to do this, because I've done massage therapy for like 22 years along with the energy healing work. And at a certain point, I really wanted to get into the energy work and the mystical work, and I was focusing on that. And I was like, I don't really want to go back to doing massage therapy
So
only.
weird. So many similarities in our story this year. Holy
Right?
moly. Hmm.
So I said, look at the way this came to you. You have to do this. And what happened was, in working with clients, massage. Actually, I'm actually doing like hybrid energy healing, massage therapy, and giving
Oh, wow.
guidance at this.
Even better.
It's turning into that, because people, like, I'll be working with them doing massage therapy, and they're like, "You do energy healing work, don't you?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I do. Why you ask?" The second you laid your hands on me, I felt it.
Wow.
So I said, "Okay, if you'd like me to, I'll add that into this." I hadn't realized that I was doing that while doing the other thing. Then I ended up in discovering, working with people on the physical. I was reminded how important the physical is to healing and this work, and how it enhances the energy healing work.
Worse. Damn.
Because I ended up taking this course for continuing education to renew my license, and I was like, let me do myofascial. This is like following the breadcrumb,
Wow.
you know. And what I realized was, was like, oh, myofascial work. It's like, oh yeah, that's the interstitial space between, it's the fascia around your muscles and everything. It separates everything and your organs and stuff. And in that space, it's like a little matrix, but in that space is your lymphatic system. It's your nervous system, like your nerves travel in that space, and also your meridians, which is
Oh,
your
wow.
energy, the energy, the chi that's flowing through your body on an energetic level, your energetic matrix, whatever you want to call it, is is in that space as well.
Mm,
So by opening, you get restrictions and injuries and things and whatever it is. By opening that space, you're opening up the energy flow also.
that makes so much sense. Like that,
Something I
it's so
never
connected.
had connected. So now I do. Now I make sure that 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 is a component of what I do, and I would have never discovered that had I not given myself permission to do something that I was being obviously told and guided to do. I was resisting it. The second I stopped resisting, it all unfolded. So I don't know how that helps people saying that, but I just really have learned this whole challenging, slow year where I've really had to, got to a point where I'm just like, how am I going to survive? Like financially, how am I going to? And then there were some other things I was resisting, and I totally, once I finally gave myself permission, I basically had to destroy myself a little bit, not destroy myself, but I had to revamp everything. I'll put it that way.
How long ago was that?
Which part?
That where you re had this realization?
About having to reorganize, like,
Yeah.
financial thing last week.
Oh,
I mean, it was coming. I was started to do it in stages, and then I was just like, I can tell you later because like the personal
yeah.
part of the story.
No, because
That's not going to be helpful to
I had
people,
a
but
similar realization, but it was like October, September, October.
yeah, I would say October was August, the end of August, and it went through to like
Yeah.
the end of September, starting October,
Yeah, same for me. So crazy. Oh my God. Mm.
and it was like a weight was lifted,
Same for me.
and then opportunities started to come, even to the point. This is why it's like you have to follow it. I'm going to say it until y'all get it. You probably already have it. You got to follow. You got to follow the guidance because sometimes you don't know where it's going,
You don't know.
but it is always for your benefit somehow. And it's almost like I felt like, I'm a conscious person. I'm a smart person. I feel into things. I sense guidance. I was like, how did I miss this? This component of it. You have to say yes.
You have to say yes.
You have to say yes, and look where it's leading me, to the point where I was driving. I mean, I was actually driving Uber
Were you?
because my other income, um, the company that I work remotely for, and I had my main income from, as I'm transitioning, rebuilding my business down here, was having financial problems, so I wasn't getting paid. So I ended up was driving Uber, and then the there was one of my tires didn't have enough air in it for some reason. I was like, oh my gosh, do I have a nail? Like, is it a flat tire? So I go to fill it up at a station that was nearby where I was, and they didn't have any change. I had a $5 bill. They had no change, but I needed $2 in quarters to put into the machine just so I can get air to fill up the tire. So I was standing there at the desk. He's like, I don't. I was like, what do you mean you don't have change? I said, I have a five. I said, give me that lottery ticket that's $3. And it was a scratch ticket. And so I got the quarters and I got the thing and I filled the tire. And then I went home and I scratched it off and I won $100. And I'm just like, I mean, come on. That air, the air in that tire, the tire didn't have a hole in it, like leak or anything. It was fine after that.
Yeah.
However, another tire a week later got a nail in it
Mm.
and they had to repair it and it cost almost like it cost a tiny bit more than $100. So it was like, why was I in that weird situation with this tire that made no sense? And then I was forced to buy a lottery ticket because it was the only thing that was $3 and because they
Oh,
had no
wow.
change. And then I was like, oh great, $100. And then I was like, oh, I get it. I was being given that money to pay for this repair that's going to happen. And
Yeah.
now, I don't know if this is like people are going to say that is not normal. That doesn't happen.
No, I think it is normal if you're listening to yourself and you're following your intuition. Yeah. The universe is supporting you, but you have to listen. But also the whole listening part I think is interesting to talk about because it's hard to listen to ourselves when we're in
Survival mode.
yeah, in survival mode. But look at you. You're going through a lot and it's practice. It's a practice and getting in the, breath work, meditation, all those things help bring our nervous system down so that we can listen. So we have to use tools, right, to get us in the right energy to be able to listen.
I would go to the beach. I mean, not everybody has a beach right near them, but like this is how I did. I would go to the beach. I was just like once a week minimum, 20 minutes soaking in the salt water and releasing everything.
Hmm.
And then all the inspiration. I was just in nature, you know, and that helps. Any way you can get to that calmer place.
Everybody's different. Yeah, you have to find your way to,
I have
and within your circumstances too, right?
I was, you know, it's unusual for me to get caught up in circumstances of things, but this was like do or die kind of thing.
Of course.
So it was dire. So, or it felt that way. Although the whole time I was like, oh, you'll be fine. But like, I'm just like, but I got to do all this stuff to make this happen. Some part of me forgot that. And that's, I think, what also slowed things down for me as well.
Me too. That was my story at the beginning of the year. I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. Things got difficult, difficult, difficult. I'm like, what am I doing? I have to stop.
Yeah. And I always listen. And I surprised myself that I wasn't like I felt the slowdown. There was stuff energetically going on and astrologically going on as well
Of
that went
course.
with that. That was like, it's time to slow down your pace a little bit. That was one aspect of it. But the part of it, it was slower probably than it was could have been had I really stayed connected.
Right.
And also, it's like the stepping forward. It's like I think my guides are like awesome first of all, but they don't play. They do not play. If I because they know that I we can talk. I get information and we have conversations and all of that, through the Akashic Records, and they're just like, because I was just like I would get a little discouraged, and then I was just like I just need to I would shut down. I would shut down for a day or two,
Yeah.
and then it just got even slower. The second I got up and started doing what I knew I was supposed to be doing, it started flowing again, and it was coming.
Yeah, but I think it's so interesting also what I see the similarity in that guidance that we followed is we didn't imagine ourselves going back into something, but we made it our own. We did it differently than we would have done it in the past. Does that make sense? Because like you put your limits to it. It's like, I'll do this, but I'm gonna find my way to do it.
It was an old paradigm that I had because you know, I went. I mean, I love massage therapy, but and I know it's super effective, and I'm really good at it. However, I went to a very reputable massage therapy school in New York because I knew that you had to study energy work, and that's what I really wanted to do.
Right.
I wanted to have a license because, especially back then, it was just like you'd always have to explain why am I allowed to do touch therapy. So I made sure I had a license, for sure, licensed and vetted, and like it's a serious thing, that licensure, so that I can just do the energy work that I wanted to do without any kind of issue
Amazing.
explaining. So that's what I had to let go of. That my purpose for doing that was just for the energy work. I'm just
Hmm.
realizing this now, talking to you, with our records open and you're saying
Yeah,
things, and so I really, it's the inner work. This is why inner work is so important.
I agree.
And it's not, inner work doesn't have to be hard. It might be difficult and challenging to look at some things or to bring things up, or there's things subconsciously, like you were saying, you didn't even know it was there.
I think it's when you're ready to see it, you'll see it, but that you can work slowly through things, right? I think there's always things we can be looking at and we can take breaks from it. I always tell people you can't be in that healing space. Your nervous system can't handle you being in this upper level of healing and seeing things 24/7. Like it just doesn't work that way. We have to, it's like we take it in chunks, right? It's I'll look at this, I'll focus on this. You follow your intuition also with what comes up and you work through it and then you integrate it and then you move to the next part and you integrate it. 'Cause you flow, it's a flow, right? And that all opens your energy to be able to connect with your purpose, your mission, to feel happier, to feel more aligned, to love yourself more, to work on your relationships, everything, right?
And then how do you do that? And what what I'm getting is it's like you have to work on all the multi-dimensional layers of you. More simply put, it's like you have to work with the physical. The story I just told was just like I had forgotten the immense importance it is because I'm working with energy all the time, and it's like we're raising vibration and we're doing this. It's like we're in a physical world. I mean,
We
it's
are in a
energy,
physical
we're
world. Yep.
energy, but like it's a density that we're here, but you can be in the third density dimension, but you can also at the same time all those layers of you, like all the chakras, it's like each one is like a layer of
Yeah.
existence. So there's the physical, which is the vital energy and stuff like that, is the root chakra, that kind of thing. So of course you have to work with the physical. It moves energy as well.
You need to, yeah. I mean, I don't personally work with somatic work. A lot of people I work with focus on that at points in their journey. But I always look at it this way, it's like this triangle. It's mind, body, spirit, right?
Mhm.
Um,
I just
there's
mean
to
size.
me, like the emotional part is a part of that as well. Um, but you can't, it's all interconnected. You can't take something out of that equation or you're missing something and something will manifest, right?
You
You're
won't
going to
have the
have to work through it.
support. Your body has to be like you have to work physically on your own physical form because that's supporting you being able to hold all these energies running through your system on those other layers. So if you forget about the physical, it's like then, okay, say you're and we're not meant to be sedentary because if you become sedentary, then it's like it's going to affect your emotional state, it's going to affect your mental state,
Oh,
and
for sure.
then you're going to lose connection to the spiritual spheres, the higher spheres, and connections to your intuition, stuff like that. It never, I don't think it really ever goes completely dormant, but you'll have a period where your body's going to say, "You need to focus on me. You've been ignoring me."
Just there's more stagnation in general, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to be crazy, you know, workouts and things like that.
Walk,
You know? I know I do that EMF
yoga.
thing, but
Hmm.
it's efficient.
Yeah. Pick
It's
something
fun.
that you enjoy,
It's
right?
not,
Don't
yeah,
do torture.
you could love to cycle. You can love to walk. You have to use your body. That's going to help you keep a flow of energy. And then you have to work on
Vibrate higher.
your emotional
Vi
state.
yeah, vibrate at a different level. It helps move emotions in the body. It helps you feel more connected to yourself. So many things.
And then the emotional, which is is inner work. All of these
Hmm.
emotions are information that is in the energy centers matrix of your body, and then it affects the muscles because what you are inside and who you are energetically is what manifests in the physical world for us. So, we're talking about manifestation. It's like, that's why. It's like I work on all those levels with people, but I do it for myself. So the physical and then the emotional, and doing that work and clearing these energies, and then going to the mental sphere, and doing some mind training, and just, even if it meditation with sound bowls, just like quieting the mind, soothing, you're priming. What crystal bowls are doing, they're priming your energetic system to function,
I love it.
like to flow. It's like I think I'm going to make a little tiny 1 minute video about this.
You should. I don't know if everybody understands that.
They're not. You're okay. How your physical form manifests is based on your energy matrix and the energy that's flowing through your system, and any blockages or whatever that lessens that. So it's like your chakra system is within, I guess, along the spine. It's more encompassing, but yes, along up and down your torso. Um, and that chakra system is actually connected to your vagus nerve, which also innervates your organs. It's your sympathetic nervous system, innervates your organs. It goes along the spine, and it goes to your brain stem in your neck, more on the left side. So when you're doing the sound frequencies and you're affecting the chakra, and you play the one bowl, the root, you play the other ones. That's the transportate that information in those frequencies that are like they organize you on a cellular level, but it's organizing on an energetic level, and it's
No.
going into your physical nervous system, and that's how it's healing. That's how it's helping you release things and balancing things.
You should do a whole like video on this for people to understand that because
I just discovered it.
it's important. Yeah, I energetically that makes a lot of sense. I never looked at it that way, right? But what I have understood is that at moments in time for my own healing, I was told to work on like the vagus nerve like stimulation, where it's like, oh,
Yes,
you can
interesting.
hum or you can sing, right? The vibration helps stimulate that. But I also like what's coming through the records is that feels like an integral part of because our nervous system plays a huge part in also our connection and all those things, right? To self, to higher self. So that makes sense that sound bowls can help with connection to self and healing, right?
That's why they work. It's like, because I've gone to sound baths with people before, and no one ever really explains why it works. I mean,
Just like it sounds nice.
no, and you feel the effects.
You feel it.
Definitely feel the effects, whether you understand it or not. It goes there. It helps your brain state as well, and and that helps you open up more to the higher spheres and your intuition and your guidance, which is why I do them with the journeys too. But it's like it's a simple way in, and you can go online. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll provide some, but you go on YouTube, and there's frequencies, and there's certain frequencies, and even if you just the Schumann resonance.
Yes.
I made a recording of the Schumann resonance, um, something they call the 11th harmonic, which is found in some classical pieces of music. It's like a very harmonizing, high frequency, frequency. and I combine that with the sound bowls, because those are musical notes that are at a certain frequency that affects certain parts of your body. Then I have other sound bowls that are those are like the bass notes, like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, if you're talking about music.
Yeah. Like notes.
Then there's the sharps, F sharp, which is like F is the heart, is that frequency for the heart
Mm.
and chakra. And but the F sharp is actually working with your endocrine system, so it's your thalamus gland.
Mm.
So I sometimes I bring all the sharps in, and I play them together in certain ways. So that's kind of how it works. It's like all the different frequencies actually are doing something and going in.
Yeah.
Like I get the whole point. They're like saying, "Get to the point," because it's like I'm getting this information, but they're saying now this is why we're saying this. Your physicality is not separate from your energy. It's not. It's integrated.
Not at all. Yeah, it's
It's
so
integrated
connected.
in there because sometimes it's like energy work, and like it is, you know, not that many people are really talking about the science behind these things, and why it works and what's actually happening. Like I did an episode that I recorded with my business partner, and we were talking about psychic work and what's actually informationally happening, and how that information is, how we're getting that information. So that was fascinating. That was fascinating to me. We had a great conversation. I'm going to post it once we launch this. But it's not. It's the reason I believe some people are skeptical, because it's some people will say, "Oh, that's really way out there," or it's like, "Where's the proof?" I know they sound nice. I know, oh yeah, that's kind of relaxing, but it's a credibility. So I think by explaining that, number one, people will understand. Once you understand, bring something into your consciousness, it's gonna inform you, and then when you're doing other things, like what I just said, if you remember some of what I said of how the bowls work and how they go in the nervous system, you can visualize that happening, and you're already
Right.
helping the process. And even when you don't have the bowls to listen to,
I
you
think that is an
can
important
repeat
point
that.
though,
If your
because
mind,
think about exercising. They say the mind muscle connection, right?
Mhm.
There's been studies on that. The
If
same
your
thing with
mind,
exercise and mental health,
mhm.
right?
But you don't even
Uh,
have to. You don't even have to. Well, we
you don't
should.
even have to actually, you can imagine it in your mind
Your
doing the exercise.
Yes, your body doesn't. Your brain doesn't know whether you're doing it or not.
Yeah.
That's what the mind control. I don't mean mind.
Our mind is so powerful.
There are people. They did an experiment, and people may have heard of this already. Because if I heard of it, like people usually hear of it first. It's like they took a group. It was a study where they had people who never played the piano. They learned how to play the piano physically. They went once a week. I mean, once every day, a certain amount of time, and were physically practicing. And then they had the other group that was like the control group. They had the other group not playing the piano, but doing it with their hands and imagining it. And they were doing it the same amount of times per, whatever the timing was per day. And they brought them all back together, and they tested them. And the people, I think, I may be wrong, but like the people, I know that the people that didn't actually have a physical piano there to play were able to play the music.
Yeah.
They were
I've
playing
heard of
the
that
physical.
study. Yeah.
So it's like the mind is very powerful. So
We have
that's
to
like
use it to
imagining.
our advantage.
Yes, bio. It's like I
And
bio.
the placebo effect.
It's a
There's
way of.
studies on that, right? Of people that are told to take a supplement or a medication and they're told one thing and the other, the placebo effect is generally more powerful than the person actually taking the medication. Or if they're like because I love Andrew Huberman. I listen to his
Believe
I love him, but he's
working.
talking about that as well. Like this one of his colleagues that does studies on this of the how powerful the mind is and how susceptible we are through the mind, right? And saying how two groups are, I don't even remember what they were taking, but they were taking a supplement, and one's they're told that it will do this, the other that they're told it's going to do that. The mind will literally follow through with whatever, like the body will follow through with what the mind believes. That's how powerful it is. I mean, Joe Dispenza, anybody that
Oh
listens or
yeah.
follows him, like you'll understand that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I way back, I was doing his meditations and listening to him and stuff, and he was making, he's making a lot of sense. And what I loved about him is he's using technology in order to show
Exactly.
why this is going on. And right there is like belief. Like I was saying, you prove to yourself, like believing in yourself, you have to prove to yourself through experimentation and repeating the same thing, and then it becomes a stronger belief because you know that it works.
You know, you trust.
Yeah, so I mean, he healed himself like spinal fractures through mind work.
It's very powerful. I think that's something to take here as well when we're talking about connection. If we believe we can't connect, we're not going to connect.
And these visualizations, and even if you can't visualize, that's what I love about the bowls too, with the frequencies, because you're getting it anyway through the
Yeah.
frequencies. But like you said, you're not as visual as you say. I'm very visual. Some people more auditory, some different things. You can develop all of them,
You develop all of them. Yeah.
and but yeah, it just went. Ew.
It happens in the records all the time, believe me.
They're like, shut up, Roberta. No, they're not mean. I'm just kidding.
They would
My
never say that.
interpretation. That's my interpretation of that brain like drift.
It goes quick. The messages come really quick, right?
Yeah. So, um, did you want? Is there something else that you want to
No, I think we talked about everything that
had
we had
planned?
set out to, and I think we talked a lot about it personal stuff, which I always love. And when I listen to podcasts, I always want to hear about people's stories. Um, no, the only thing I would finish on would be kind of my message for 2024. Um,
Oh, our guides are talking because I was leading you to what you wanted, to do, but I'm there with you.
yeah, we're connected. It really is kind of a moment of, yes, taking action, all those things that we've said, like starting to have that faith, but more like, I don't know, it's not like it's now or never. I don't like that energy. That's not how they're giving it to me. It's more like, if not now, then when?
Ah,
More like that energy, right? It's like just jump into the deep end. And that I don't only mean just spiritual things, right? I mean, what is it you're passionate about? What is it that you want to do? Find a way to do it. It's like what they're giving me is more like get out of your head of how you think you need to get there and start to like those stories that you shared with us today, right? It's I got this message to go here and to do that, to talk to this person. You never know how something can come to life, how you can connect to something.
I didn't know what I was going to do, and then I
Exactly.
just surrendered.
Yeah, 2024 feels like it's a year of a lot of healing, but like a year of opportunities to to obviously continue to heal and grow and expand, but to start doing that thing or those things that we feel are important to us. Um, it's so funny when I connect to the future, they always keep showing me the healing aspect of things. It's like they our spiritual teams, our souls want us to always be in that energy. I think if we are in that energy and we're working on ourselves, it's like they will support you in finding the way to do that thing that you need to do at a soul level, right?
Yeah.
But you have to connect and listen. Otherwise, it just becomes slower. Everything's just slower, harder.
Yeah, so I'm getting an image. It's almost like, you're running a race and but you have a cramp, but you still have to run that race. It's like you can do it that way, or you can take a moment and
Breathe.
rest and let go of that, because you're still going to finish the race. If you want to use that analogy, you're still going to get there. Might take you a little bit longer in the moment, but you chances are you're not going to get there if you continue to not address the things that you're running this race with a cramp. You're not addressing the cramp.
I love that.
Once you address that, then you can probably run twice as fast.
It's no longer in the way. Like what is paying attention to those things in your body, your life, those roadblocks, they're telling you something. That's the healing. Those are the signs too, right?
I had so much to do, not today. Well, I did a lot today, but I'm really enjoying my day, um, especially speaking with you.
Oh,
Um, it's like there was a day where I was just like, I have to do this stuff. I have deadlines. I have to get this done. I'm getting this done. I get this done. And then at one point, I was just like, I'm going to sleep.
I did the same thing today.
I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so I went to sleep. I woke up, and two things like that I didn't get done miraculously fell off of my schedule momentarily. So it was like, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I can reschedule. Like the person I was, it was another podcast episode, and the person was not feeling well, and I know her very well, and it's like, she's been on this healing journey, the physical healing journey, and I was just like, there's no need to force this. I'm not in a place physically to really be focused, um, and do my best, and she wasn't ready either. So we're just doing another time.
It
Come on.
all happens how it needs to happen, right? That's also trusting.
Yeah, I'm also hearing, like, we're saying about giving yourself permission, saying yes to things. You have to also say no. You have to know when to say
100%.
no.
Hmm. That's something I'm learning still.
And it's okay to say no. This is not something that is going to be beneficial for me right now. And my focus needs to be here right now. So I'm going to say no to this.
Or my energy can't sustain that right now, or I can't show up for it in the best way possible, right? Putting up healthy boundaries.
I don't want to, I don't want to make people nervous about 2024 with this next thing that just came through. It's like that marathon thing came back. It's like it's going to be a marathon. So prepare
I agree with that energy. Yeah.
prepare your system.
Mhm.
Prepare yourself physically, emotionally. Do this work. Do this work. Tap into your guidance. Go to all the levels, and work, like I was saying, the physical, the emotional, the mind, you know, your spiritual connection.
And balance.
Like, and I'm hearing it's it's my guide, like being like a drill sergeant. Um, it's like you gotta work. It's not work. It's good. It's like a marathon, and if you're prepared for it, you're gonna soar through the race. So that's what I think they were getting at when I said way early on. It's like a do or die moment. You're not gonna die. It's just like it's like you said. It. I forget exactly how you said it, but it's like this is what you need to do. now or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't remember what you said.
Oh, I don't even remember. Literally, when I channel, it goes in and comes out.
In and goes right out. I know.
Mm. Wow, I'd have to listen back.
But
It's horrible.
that's the point. It's, um, it's it doesn't have to feel. There's like a lot. It doesn't have to feel.
But I think that's also part of the energy for 2024. It's like find the joy in things. Find the pleasure in the healing. Find the pleasure in the work that you're doing, the connections with people. A lot of that energy is coming in for 2024 as well. But we have to be in that vibration. Otherwise, everything will feel like work and like an obligation.
Absolutely, and that just lowers our energy. We're not obligated to do anything other than to take care of yourself and to fulfill your mission.
Agreed.
And everyone else is responsible for their mission. And yeah, we sometimes we help each other out. We're in a soul group, like we come together, but this is like your show. I think we were talking about that. It's
You're
like
the main character. Yeah, you have to show up for it. Otherwise, like, what are we doing?
I'm hearing January, February, March. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Because after March, things are going to start to start to open up.
Mm.
Start to open up. So just really prepare yourself and get yourself ready. And that's a good thing. It's like imagine, you know, you I don't know, I don't want to that they're like don't use that reference. You're planning a vacation and it's this beautiful place and you're going to go and it's going to be like uplift you and you're going to heal and you're going to all of this good energy is coming in. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to go away to this special place. You're going to prepare yourself for that, right? You're going to make sure you get everything in line, um, in your work and in your thing to make space for that beautiful moment that you have planned for yourself that's supposed to happen for you.
You can let go.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, or that's what they mean by prepare January, February, and March, as if it's this amazing event that you're going to be so ready for.
I think they may also be saying that for like, don't give up. Keep doing it because the opening will come.
Yeah, yeah, because there's going to be a lot of truths coming out, like into our sphere. Like we're going to discover a lot of things. There's a lot's going to change. Even like the sun itself is like it's going through it. It's going through a transition, but I think it's a positive thing and it's a higher vibrational thing. It's going to change things
Yeah,
energetically.
we have to be open to the change.
The earth is, I feel like it's cleansing the old paradigm. I feel like that's why, you know, there's wars, there's things, there's stuff like I don't know, like
Yeah, there's a lot of shifting.
could be
I think
more
that's been happening for a
as
while, and
ever.
there's been like this interesting peaks and valleys to that in the last couple of years. But moving forward, yeah, we're not escaping that energy next year. That's going to continue.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because that had the feeling of this is why you have to prepare yourself. Not prepare yourself for doom. It's like, no, prepare yourself so that you're in a really great place and you can shift with that energy.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can we can all be in very different energies next year. Depends what we do with our our healing and how we show up and the mindset that we're in and all that. That's what we have control over.
Yeah, you have control over yourself and not anybody else. So we have to let go of that control that we want to make everything the way we want it, meaning making it so that other people look like and do and act like for what we want. We have to just focus on ourselves and our own journey. I don't know why that came like that. And I'm looking at you like there's something that
Yeah,
clarified
like
that.
for 2024, no, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but what came through while you were speaking was more like 2024 is fully releasing that victim role.
There you go.
That, that can't be part of our reality in like it needs to really we need to overcome that. If we're still in that in any way, it's literally work on that. The first few months could be that work for some people, right? Some people might have already done that work. Um,
Yeah, and that can do it. Or even if we've all done that work, it's like
Reinforce it.
there's more. It's never done. It's like
Never done.
there's more because things keep happening. So why is this happening to me? Kind of like victim role. Um, People do crappy things
Yeah.
that make us sometimes feel like we're a victim of something that we don't deserve, and I believe that we don't. That's that person's energy.
But that could be a soul contract with somebody, a lesson that that person's helping us see, a mirror. I mean, there's tons of explanations for that. Depends, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You can't control what other people do, but you can control your inner world and how you treat yourself, and then energetically, whatever, like raising yourself up in vibration in all the spheres, like mental, emotional, like whatever,
Mhm.
and balancing that is going to that's all you need.
That's crucial.
And those other people that are not in resonance with that I'll just say difficult people, just I'm not judging, I'm just saying, just so that a little clearer thought about it, um, they start to disappear from your.
The whole energy shifts. Your reality shifts. Yeah.
Something just happened when you said reality shifts.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes. Zoom
I'm
does a
on.
weird thing where if you put your thumb up, like it'll do a thumbs up. It's weird. Or like peace or
Why do
like
I have a hand up? Did I raise
I
my hand like that? And
it
then we
looks
switched places on the screen. There we go. Oh, I just
you
went like this. Wait, let me try it again. We just switched places on the screen. Okay, my magic isn't working.
it it it's like Zoom has all these weird new features. I'm finding some interesting things with that in my readings as well.
But it happened at the exact moment that you said switching reality.
Yeah, it's like yes.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. So,
Well,
yeah, my guidance is saying, that's all we have for you, Roberto, for now.
thank you for the guidance. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Always, yes, gratitude.
Mhm.
Always give gratitude for whatever, for yourself, but also whatever intuitive guidance.
Changes your vibration.
Yeah. And I hazard to say, um, gratitude for the challenges because they're opportunities, even though they
I'm
may.
so grateful for everything that's happened this year. I mean, we're still, I don't know when this is coming out, but we're talking about 2023, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm so grateful. It really put me on up on a path.
I'm
And
still, I'm still working on that.
uh, yeah, but
I
it,
am.
gratitude in the sense of like the universe has my back. Like the messages are coming, the synchronicities are like showing up in that sense. It might not look exactly how you need it to look just yet, but the gratitude will help you get closer.
And if you're aligning and doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's like I notice. That's why I was saying it's like sometimes my guides they don't play. It's like if I back off from my mission, I'm not saying stop. Like I can take breaks. I'm just saying
Of
like,
course.
but if I back off from that mission, my commitment to that mission and going forward, however slowly or fast, going forward, they're gonna make me feel it.
Oh yeah.
Like nothing's gonna. I'm just gonna say those all those beautiful synchronicities I was talking about stopped happening, and I'm like, what is going on? Am I losing my connection? What is this about? I don't feel them as close to me as they were before. So there was, I think it, and now then I started really focusing again on the mission, and it all came back. All that
Yeah.
came back. It was like they're not punishing you, but I'm just laughing and joking about it. That it's just like if you don't stay on mission, you've got a lot to do, as far as like what you're like what they're saying. What you're doing is really important, and
Of course it is.
and it's
Yeah.
now. Like it's time. It's time. It's time. You've done the
And
work.
I'm sure a lot of people listening feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's just your sign. This could be your sign, right?
Yeah. So if that connection, like if you've had a certain connection or you've had synchronicities happening and that like that moves away, really think about like, am I really being true to the mission and am I participating in it enough? And then when I do, when I step back up, it's just like it's all happening. It's all
Go
happening. It's
time.
happening.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of doing the inner healing and aligning to your mission. That's why I'm going to get back to the very beginning. Guidance, your inner guidance, your guides connecting to your guides. Like that's a dream of mine for people for this for 2024. And I started working with people with this in the guided meditation journeys, connecting, like amping up, not amping up, but like balancing your system and getting that energy flowing and more of it and more quality,
Yeah.
so make it easier for them to connect with their guidance because that's like
It
your
it brings
that's your
it
north
puts us on the
star.
right path. Yeah.
It's your north star. I mean, if we go to Akashic Records, talk about it that way, it's like your soul contract, what you decided you wanted your mission to be and what you were going to fulfill in this incarnation. um, you work that out with your guide. Your guide was there, and your guide is always there to support that and
Hmm.
to remind you. And they can remind you with something, a beautiful synchronicity. They can remind you with a challenge, but they're there and they know what your soul knows. So even if you're like
Distracted or
you're distracted, that's a great way of putting it. That's perfect. If you're distracted, they're still there, and they're gonna guide you. So if you feel like you're in the muck a little bit, you have to try to tune into your guidance and like find a way. And if you it's not something that you know how to do yet fully, it's like I'm just gonna say go to Lorena. Go to an Akashic Records reader or someone that can actually facilitate that process. And the reason I say go to Lorena is not because I'm plugging you right now. I really mean it. It's like your teachings with Lucia, the Akashic Records, is a way to get a person to be, at least level one, it's a way to get a person to be able to do that for themselves. And it's so easy. I didn't
it's
realize how easy it was. I didn't
I
realize
mean, we make it down to earth. Some people
yes,
complicate, I think.
yes. You the two of you make it make it easy. It's an easy process. Um, and it works. And I have to say, like I didn't even this was my thing with it. I didn't even know that I could actually speak to the like have a two-way conversation.
Mhm.
in the past, I was very open as a kid and stuff. I was getting guidance, and like when in the dire moments of my life where I needed like I what's that movie goes? It's like you in trouble, girl. You're in
What's that?
trouble. It's Ghost, that movie Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg
Oh yeah, Ghost, yeah.
I forgot. Molly, you in danger, girl.
Yes. Okay.
That was
Now
when
that.
guidance would come in, and they didn't say Molly to me, but I'm just making that reference.
Yeah, I'm remembering
Angel.
that part though. Yeah.
Oh. So I got this guidance saves, like that other pod. I think I did a podcast. I was on yours. I forget.
Yeah,
But
you were on our podcast.
yes, the moving
Yeah.
to, moving to Florida, I got that. It saved me. I got that guidance. Moved to Miami. This was like when I was 21, and I thought it was the craziest thing that I ever did. I did it. I didn't know why. I was just like, it's not working. Whatever's going on is not working, not working, not working. I'm gonna go to Miami. Let's see what this is. And it worked. It worked. So I didn't know you can have a 2-day conversation. So once like, and then it was so easy. That's what I'm saying. It's like I followed, the way, you know, you share with people how to connect, and I was able to do it. And it was like, finally, there was so much noise. It wasn't noise. There was so much excitement on the other side. The guy was like, "Oh my God, you finally!" And then it was literally for like 2 months. We were talking, 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 and it opens it up. So that is a big reason why I brought you in here early on the podcast, because I think it's a really the other things you do are you know beautifully healing, helps people in their whole process. But the learning to speak with your guidance, as you can tell from this long podcast, I keep repeating myself, I guess, is how important it is, and that's what's going to get you through. That's what's going to get you through um, this next year.
Yeah.
That's like I said, your North Star. They're telling me North Star, North Star.
Amen.
It's your guiding
Yep.
light. And now they're saying it's like you are your own guiding light. We're just here to make sure you remember that, and to
So
remind
fun.
remind you of who you really are.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, now they're done.
Okay. Well, this was great. I always love chatting with you. I always feel so open, you know?
Yeah. And you add so much. There's like a directness, like the message, like the messaging that you get, that like, you know, I can kind of go around it a little bit, and then you just say the like.
I think that's practice.
And
Or practice, I think, but also just the way they communicate to me.
but it's who you are, because
Mm.
you see it. It's many words, and like can have a certain power, but like say the two words that guidance had you say, and you accepted that, and you just said them, was was even more powerful. Like it's just um
Mm.
it's a certain focus that I appreciate about um your
Thank you.
readings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they've evolved and they've become more powerful, I feel, over time, which I'm so grateful for because I feel like it can help people at a deeper level. Now adding in the family constellations, flower essence therapy. I do some psychic and mediumship stuff too,
And just so you
and
know, like for
counseling.
people, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Like you struggled with that in the beginning, yes? And you mentioned that earlier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So I thought to kind of re-mention that briefly. Is that because it not necessarily, like people might be struggling with being able to make this kind
Of
of
course. Yeah. And I help people in that process too. Like they can study with me or not. It doesn't matter. But a lot of people come to me for like mentorship, right? If they're struggling just to connect through the records and they can come and we can practice together. I can give them advice. We can follow up. Like I do a lot of that as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you're really great with that, because you've been through it. You understand it.
yes, and I truly believe, and the message I always get is we all have the power and the capacity to connect to our records. It is our right. It is our information. So we have to make sure we understand and believe that because I think if we don't, then we're going to be fed our own internal beliefs will cover all of that, right? It'll be fed what maybe we were told as a child or what people say outside of you, and then that blocks you, right? So
Internal
I
thought.
help people in that sense too. Like, let's work through the block that's put you in this place. Let's try to move that. Let's try to be aware of it so that you can start to believe something different. Like reprogram that, right?
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And understand, um, when that's happening, when it's
Yeah.
you, when it's your filter.
Yeah, some people don't think, some people think, well, I just can't connect. It's like, no, that's not true. You actually are connecting, you're just blocking it.
Yeah,
That is usually, I would say 99% of the time. When
yeah.
someone says that to me, it's that they are connecting, but they're not allowing it to come through.
The second I believe that I can actually speak to my guides,
It happens.
it just happened. It opened. It was like
It
that.
opens, but I know it's also a process, right? That it can grow and it can expand and it can become clear and you can find your way to do that. Nobody can teach you that. That's practice.
Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of healing work, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's never out of nowhere, but it felt like that. It's like people are like, "Do you do Akashic Records reading?" And I'm like, some random
Mhm.
person like at the gym, and I'm just like, "Well, yes, I do. Why?" I was in disbelief. I was like, "How do you know about this?" Like, I didn't
You'd
know.
be surprised. I think more
I
and
didn't
more
know
people are
about this.
catching on. Yeah. It's beautiful. I'm hoping our podcast, like the one that I've created with my sister, the Soul Tribe, I hope that's had some influence in people finding it as a tool, be it that they come to me or not, doesn't matter in my eyes. It to us, it was always like we want people to feel less alone on their healing journey, but also to understand what the records are. What are the Akashic records? It's not this crazy thing that people might tell you because some people put it up here. It's yes, it's up in the fifth dimension or wherever dimension. Some people connect to it differently, but
It's in you. That's
it's in you.
in you.
Mm.
It's the destiny. All of these other, I think, like the constructs, so that our minds can understand. It's why we say dimensions in this, and I do it all the time. It's like, oh yeah, it's this dimension and the higher dimension, and it's not outside of yourself. It's like it's in you. Like you exist in all of those. This is what I'm hearing. You exist in all of those dimensions and densities
Mhm.
already. You just have to open up to it and bring it into your conscious awareness
Yeah.
so that you can access what's already there. It's not like I'm traveling to a place
No,
to
no,
do
no.
it. We do that in journeys because that we're in our mind doing it. That's, we're in our energy doing that. So it's not like you're going. It feels like you're going on a journey, but
It feels, yeah.
you're still it's still inside of you.
Hmm. You're a channel for the information. It goes through you. It's part of you. It is you.
Yeah. And it's your
All of it.
information.
Mhm. You have a right to connect to it. You just have to work through any blocks that might be in the way of you believing and finding your method. I don't think everybody's going to use the same method to connect. You have to really be true to yourself in that sense. And why I don't think there's one solution to being able to work through a block or connect. I always say if one way doesn't work, keep trying different methods.
You have to find your solution,
Yep. Yeah.
or allow your solution to find you.
That too. I like that. That is true because usually will come, right? In some way or another. If you're
Yeah.
listening and you're paying attention
When you're looking, you're like, okay,
and you're looking around,
you're
we're not like
accepting. Come on.
desperation, right? We're
I
more
say,
like, I'm open to receive. the solution. I'm open to receiving the guidance. I'm open to receiving the wisdom. That's it. That's the energy.
And then go to bed because you might dream about it.
Yeah. Hmm. Amazing.
Yay. So I think we'll end the podcast here.
That'd be
Stay
great. Yeah.
on for a moment after I, end the podcast, but I want to thank you again. Um, this is it's so beautiful to reconnect with you again,
I know.
and have these conversations that I know will resonate with some people and help some people. And like you said, your podcast, it's like I can't express enough how important it is for people to experience all of the topics and all of the ways that what you're presenting to people, because it's with such heart and such care. It's lighthearted, um, and it's really helpful. It's been really helpful for me.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it's like, and it inspires, like, sometimes it's like, okay, we're not quite getting our guidance or our inspiration fully. I found that listening to um, Soul Tribe podcast, you and Lucia's podcast, actually started inspiring me in some of the things that I was thinking about, excuse me, I'm working on. And it opened me up to having that inspiration and making more connections.
I'm glad.
There's something empowered in the information. And
Yeah.
I don't just mean we're giving you information. It's like there's something underlying in it that's in the
Yeah.
intention
Yeah.
that is opening up. We were talking about, speaking with, some mentors of ours, um, that when they speak, it like opens us in some way.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so I that's that that's the experience that I had, and I know other people have had in by listening to your broadcast,
That makes me happy.
and it's fun.
Yeah. We try to have fun with
Listen
it
to.
more now. Yeah.
I can be a little serious. I like to joke around a bit, but
I think if they're fun with what you do and but also bring up topics that could really benefit people in the healing sense, right? That's our mission.
and perspectives
So
that
people feel less alone.
I might not have thought it that way about it that
Yeah.
way. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can take that. Let me work. Let me ponder this. Let me look into that. I
Yeah.
think it's
Well, I'm
beautiful.
glad. I'm glad because that makes me happy.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for how many years now? 5 years.
I
So that's a lot. What a gift. I'm just saying that, like I'm just getting the impact of that. What a gift that you shared, like so much of yourself, and your sister shared so much of yourselves and your journey, and really helping and caring for people.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was important to us to start. Just like, that was also a message I got. I was like, we need to start a podcast. We need to be talking about these things that we're talking over the phone on a podcast. Let's share it. That's it. That was the only intention, right?
and there you go. You follow that, and look at
Mhm.
what you did and how much support.
And I know it's leading me somewhere else for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Don't know what it is yet, but it's leading me somewhere.
As long as you're going somewhere.
Yeah, always. Mm.
Yeah. So let us, like, I don't know. Let us both um, not resist in the ways that we resist, like you and I. And I
Yeah.
say that to the audience as well. It's like the more you resist, the harder it is. You being in the flow is like what is it? It's like don't swim upstream.
Hmm. Yep. Go with the flow.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you again for
Thank you
coming.
for having me here.
And
I'm excited for your podcast to come to life.
oh yes, thank you. I'm excited too.
Mhm.
Because it's been, you need to do a podcast. Okay, year went by. I was working on it. Year went by. Nope, not now. You know, don't forget, you need to do the podcast. And you're not saying that to me. This is like,
No, of course not.
and then I get, oh no, but you have to totally transform your life first. And then it's
You're
like,
ready now.
I thought I was ready. It's like, you're not ready yet. Now, now it's ready. And I really, really, really hope um, that that this is really gonna be meaningful. I mean, I know in some
It
sense
will
that,
be. It
that
will
will
be.
be, but meaningful for
It
people.
already is, right?
Yes, that's why I stopped myself from that.
It
From
already is because you're having these conversations. You just keep putting that intention forward and it will get to the people that it needs to. You need to trust that.
yeah, like to me, it doesn't have to be like this hugely what is successful.
Yeah.
I would be happy that whatever episode you come across, that it doesn't matter if it's two people, that it actually that's who it's meant for. And that's why I'm doing this, because it's a lot of time. It's a
It's a
lot
lot of work. It's work.
I love
But
it, but it's a lot to put together. It's a lot to show up, you know.
prepare to talk, to edit, to put out there. Yeah, but you do it with love and you do it to whatever capacity you can. Like you figure that out along the way and that could change over time.
Yeah. So it's not like I don't feel like I have to do it,
Yeah.
but it's like I want to.
You feel the need to do it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I'm not doing it for me, really. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. The
I,
same thing with our podcast. It wasn't really about us. It was about sharing something of this feeling of you're not alone and there might be a topic that you look up and or you didn't even know and it reaches you and you get the message that you need to. You connect to a community. You just never know what a podcast can lead to, right?
yeah, and just anything, even a person. You walk by a person and they're not even talking to you, and you just hear a sentence, and you're just like, oh,
Mhm.
you're always getting messages.
Yeah.
So if you happen upon something, you know, a podcast or otherwise, or like a phrase in a book, or someone tells a story, it's like, I think that's why we're all here together because we
Of
all have
course.
message is always like guidance and message. You can connect directly, but it's coming through other people
Yeah.
as well.
Mm.
So we can go on and on and on.
Well,
So
thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll give you all my links so you can share, I
yes,
guess, on
please.
your show notes and anybody that has any questions about the records, obviously you can answer them because you know a lot now too, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has as well.
Yeah, and no, dude, I'm saying go to Lorena. I got enough work to do.
I'm busy right now. No, and
I'm
family
doing
constellations
this.
as well, obviously.
Yeah, but yeah, follow your heart, follow your guidance, and
Yeah.
I'll just
And
leave.
believe in yourself.
Yes,
Amazing.
remember who you are. Yay! So we're gonna go. I'll put everything contacts to learn and find out more about what Lorena does, and if you're called to contact her, um, I can definitely vouch for the value in the experience of working with you personally. And I thank you again for coming here, for showing up here, and taking your time, and being here for
Been
people
wonderful.
again through
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
So, at the risk of waving my hands and having us switch dimensions again, I'll say
Bye.
bye bye.